Episode 8 of the Consistency Podcast. My name is Stephen Gloucester, and for this episode, I want to ask the question, how are you feeling when it comes to some Barstool and Kirk Minihane show related topics? So the first, how are you feeling about Team Minihane being 1-2 in the dozen trivia? Are you shocked by that 1-2 record, disappointed, or is it just something to not be so concerned about? And what's behind that 1-2 record? Is there some malaise going on with the team? Is there a championship hangover? You see that in sports a lot. A team wins the championship the year before, and then the year after, they come out of the gate slow. Could this be what's going on with Team Minihane? Is losing Quiggs a reason behind this 1-2 record? Kirk said that Quiggs was a glue guy on last year's team. He was replaced this year by Hank. Is that the reason why they're 1-2? My thought is this team is just flat. And I think that loss this past week to Chris Castellani's team, in a way, was kind of the kick in the ass this team needed. I think that there is a little bit of a malaise, but Kirk said that changes will happen for this team. And being as competitive as Kirk is, he's going to put this team on his shoulders. He's going to get hot. He's going to be refocused, re-energized. And this team is going to go back to winning games. And I think that if Kirk is into it, he's motivated, he's recharged, you're going to see that with Rico. They're going to get something out of Hank. And I have no concerns and no doubt that this team is going to win the games as the season goes on. They're going to make the playoffs. And this team is going to repeat as back-to-back champions. Something that has never happened in the dozen. It's going to happen this year. Team Minihane is going to win the title this year. But tell me what you think. I want to know how you're feeling about Team Minihane. And I also want to know, how are you feeling about surviving Barstool now that Kirk is on the jury and he's not a competitor? And are you still looking forward to next week's episodes? Obviously, we wanted Kirk to be in it as a competitor, but that no good rat fuck asshole Stephen Che blindsided Kirk. He voted him out. And you have to wonder if that was Stephen Che's obituary that he wrote when he voted out Kirk. Kirk said that Che's not going to win the 100,000, and Kirk's going to do everything in his power to make sure that doesn't happen. And you also have to figure that Jersey Jerry's also not going to win the championship. He also, to a lesser degree, stabbed Dave Portnoy in the back, voted against Dave. Dave also said Jersey Jerry's not going to win the title. So you have to believe that Jersey Jerry and that rat fuck Stephen Che aren't going to win the 100,000. So who of the five left, other than that, do you feel is going to win the title? Now, there is conversation that KFC and Will Compton aren't going to win the 100,000 because they already have money. And there has been that conversation if people who are well off deserve to win the 100,000. And I honestly think that conversation is bullshit. If you're in the competition, it shouldn't matter if you're wealthy or not, if you need the money or not. If you play the game the right way, you deserve to win. And it's hard to not want Will Compton to win. Will is one of Kirk's soldiers in the Minihane family. He is a loyal guy. He's a capo. This is a guy you want to win the money. You want him to win the title. And to think that because he made a lot of money over his career in the NFL, that he won't be able to win Surviving Barstool is nonsense. But let's play it out. Let's say that Will Compton can't win or KFC can't win because they already have money. That leaves us with Feidelberg, PFT, and Tommy Smokes. Looking at these three, don't you have that feeling that Feidelberg is on borrowed time. I mean, he really doesn't even understand how to play the game of Survivor. You think that he's going to be able to make it to the finals and win it? I mean, I just don't see it. I know he's in that trio with KFC and that rat fuck Che. But don't you think he's the weakest link and the guy that's going to be voted out first? I mean, I just don't see him making it that far. And I don't think PFT is long for the world either. I mean, he's not that great at the individual challenges. He's not that good as far as being conniving and making deals. And I kind of think he's just on borrowed time. I mean, I think eventually he's going to be eliminated. He's going to be voted out. So that leads us to the leader in the clubhouse and who I think is the odds-on favorite, somebody who I would gamble on if I had the opportunity, Tommy Smokes. Tommy is the best player in this competition right now. And he's the guy who I feel is going to win this championship because, as you know, watching Survivor, the game really changes once you get to the individual immunity. And we saw that in episode 6. Tommy won individual immunity, and I think you'll see him winning a few as the episodes unfold next week. And what you have to like about Tommy, if you're a fan of Survivor, is how devious, how conniving, and how much of a snake he is behind the scenes. He already won individual immunity, so you know he was safe in episode 6. But what did he start to do? He started to have conversations about long-term of this show. He started trying to broker deals with other people, trying to make promises with other people. And that's what good players do. And you wonder if he's also trying to pit people against each other. That's what champions do. And you have to say to yourself, would you vote for this guy if he was sitting across from Jersey Jerry or sitting across from that rat fuck Che? Of course you would. You would want him to win. And I honestly think that's the only chance that Feidelberg or PFT has. They'd have to be sitting across from Jerry or Che. But can you really envision a scenario where Feidelberg or PFT gets to the finals? I don't. But I definitely think Tommy Smokes will make it that far. And, he said it himself. He should have been voted out early. The players made mistakes early. They should have voted him out. And as this competition goes on, you're only seeing Tommy Smokes get better, stronger. And right now, I mean, if Will Compton can't win this thing, then I hope my fellow Paisan Tommy Smokes takes it. But let me know what you think. Now switching gears to the Kirk Minahan show universe. How are you feeling about Jared Carrabis? Do you like the Jared episodes or do you find them boring? There are a subset of people who don't mind Jared, but there are people who find it boring, find it vanilla, they don't like the baseball talk or the Kowloon's talk. But you have to wonder, is vanilla refreshing for the show? Is it better for the long term of this show? Kirk likes Jared. He likes having him in the studio. He likes the conversation. And yes, Jared may not be well versed on the world. He may not listen to all the episodes. But he does have a lot in common with Kirk. They do have a good flow. There is a good conversation. And it's great for Kirk sometimes to have that episode where he's not involved with anything else going on in the world. He doesn't have to deal with the enemies or the live shows or the contests or, all the other characters that are involved in the world. And he can just have a good conversation with somebody. And being vanilla isn't that bad. I mean, think about vanilla. Think about a dish of vanilla ice cream. On its own, a dish of vanilla ice cream isn't bad. It's enjoyable. It's refreshing. Sure, you want the hot fudge, the nuts, the cherries, and all that stuff. But vanilla on its own isn't bad. So you have to really say to yourself, is having a vanilla episode with Jared Carrabis better than no episodes at all? And for me, I like it. Now, would Jared be great once a week? Probably not. But having Jared in once a month, once every 6 weeks, I don't think it's that bad. Again, let me know what you think. And I wonder how you're feeling about Chris Klemmer. To me, this past week was a redemption for Mr. Klemmer. This was a great show of loyalty by Klemmer towards the Minahan family when Chris Castellani called him on the Dozens Trivia and wanted him to answer a question for Chris Castellani's team, and Klemmer said no. Klemmer wouldn't have done that in the past. He would have answered that question, and that would have got Kirk bullshit. He would have got him pissed, and Kirk would have went on the attack. So it was amazing that Klemmer finally showed some loyalty towards Kirk, towards the Minahan family. And I think that's a great redemption thing for Klemmer. I think Klemmer finally realizes where his bread is buttered and who he needs to side with. And as many people know, if you're on Kirk's good side, that's a great thing. And it's only going to help him moving forward in 2024. And to then record another episode of Cheers with Kirk's consigliere Blind Mike. Again, perfect for the redemption of Klemmer. And I know there's some people who don't like Chris at all. They don't like the fact that he's not creative, that he only really does things with like gambling at Barstool. He does the little New York City videos that are sometimes not that interesting, that he's Frank the Tank's fluffer. But is it really, at the end of the day, more of people not liking Chris because he wasn't loyal to Kirk? Or do people actually find him boring and uninteresting? Me? I don't mind him. I think he's a good guy. I think he means well. I just think that he needed to really figure out what he needed to do going forward in order to make his life copacetic and to be on Kirk's side and to have that redemption with Kirk and that now third or fourth, fifth chance with Kirk is only going to help him going forward. But let me know what you think. Are you a Klemmer guy or not a Klemmer guy? Would definitely like to hear that. And also, how are you feeling about Mutt? And I think it's kind of the same question that you would have about Jared. Do you like the Mutt episodes? Do you not like the Mutt episodes? Is he too vanilla? Is he too boring? Are you not interested in the same conversations about his professional life, what he does during the day, the Mutt stack? Or is Mutt somebody that you look forward to hearing on the show? Again, sometimes it's a little bit different of a show, a little bit more relaxed. I think you see Kirk a lot more relaxed when Mutt's on. Is having Mutt on the show a benefit going forward, or is Mutt somebody that you only want to see on the show once a month? And are you okay with Mutt not being friendly to the network? I mean, Menners has invited him on to shows, and so far he hasn't accepted. And there is that side of Mutt that looks down at people. I mean, he took a shot at me last week, saying that I wasn't good in my second appearance of KMS. And, you know, hearing that isn't great, but I get what Mutt's trying to do. You know, he's trying to take the heat off of him sometimes and focus it on other people. But at the end of the day, is Mutt good for the show? Me, personally, I like the Mutt episodes. And I like Mutt as a guy. We talked post and pre-appearance. And I think he's a good guy. He means well. And I hope things go well for him in 2024. I hope he gets a gig someplace, you know, with a podcast or in the horse racing world or in the radio business. But how are you guys feeling about Mutt? Do you want more mutt or less mutt on KMS? Let me know. And as we close this episode, how are you feeling about the Consistency Podcast? This is episode 8, and I've noticed that the views are going up. Episode 7 was the highest views I've had for the Consistency Podcast. And I'm wondering how you guys are feeling about the show. I mean, I know there's some people who love it. I know there's some people who hate listen. But what is your take on the Consistency Podcast? Do you want me to put out one episode a week, a couple a week, maybe every other week? I'd love to hear back. Do you want me to ask questions from the audience and answer them? I can do that. Is there a certain topic that you guys want me to discuss? For the most part, I'm open to it. Or do you want this podcast to go away? I mean, certainly that's an option as well. But I'm open to anything. I'm open to any suggestions or any tips or advice on how to make this show better. And I'm also hopeful that I will have a third appearance on the Kirk Minahan Show. I know right now my grade is neutral. I know that Kirk and Mutt have been kind of, not happy with my second appearance. But I also hope to get that redemption. I also hope to get that third appearance. Gussie Bullshit knows how to contact me. So does Condescending Coleman. I know there's a lot going on to close the year out on KMS. Kirk's going to Chicago for the Surviving Barstool finale. There's a couple of live events coming up in December. They're also taking a holiday break. So maybe me being in studio in 2023 isn't going to happen. But I'm very much open to 2024. I really hope I get that third chance because it would be nice to be back on the show. So with that said, we're going to close episode 8. I will definitely have episode 9 coming up in the near future. And until then, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.